you think the market is going to drop 50%? If it does, we have a lot bigger problems in the world than that fucking gap fill, right? We have a lot bigger problems. You think I'm going to give a shit about that gap fill when my 401k was just slashed in half and no one 55 years old can fucking retire now for 10 more years? Like,
welcome back to Beyond the Charts, episode 4, and today marks our first guest, first in history, so I had to make sure it was special. I had to get one of the best day traders out there and one of the best looking day traders out there. Many know him as Options Max, Options Daddy Max, or I personally like to call him Sexy Beast. Max, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. What a pleasure. I don't think anyone calls me any of those names, to be honest with you.
Your wife's going to call me. Your wife's going to call me and be very angry. What's up with you two?
My wife's favorite name for me is, why the fuck didn't you clean the house today while I've been out working and you've been doing nothing since 10 a.m.? That's her favorite name for me.
Well, you brought a guest. You were my guest, but then you brought a guest along. So
I am your guest. And first off, thank you guys for having me.
No,
this is so awesome. So much fun. You two legends. Thank you for having me. This is my friend Alyssa, or as I call her, Shalissa. She is my student now. She is a RN who wants to get into trading, and she's been my student now for about 9 months.
All right, beautiful. And for people that don't know you, which is not many, if you're in the trading space, most of them know you.
Yeah.
But a little introduction, what should they know about you? A little bit background about you.
Right. My name is Max. I am a professional trader for 6 full years now, which is pretty damn crazy to say. My background is in law enforcement, military guy. I'm a 5.5, 6 year veteran in the Army. Law enforcement 4 years before that. I got out in 2018, and that's when the journey began. And my brother was like, hey, you ever heard of options? And I was like, hell no. And he was like, I think you'd be really good at them. You should give it a shot. The rest is history, and here I am now, and I'm very thankful for that conversation in that day, because now I am a professional trader who has had the privilege of educating tens of thousands of people online.
But what's interesting about you is you don't trade options the way people think of options, right? Only you mostly do more high-level strategy that is very interesting with hedge funds, like the wheel strategy and how options selling. You're not like, hey, news for Google's coming out today. Let me just buy call options because Tesla did good. And it's a conversation I had with somebody today. Someone's like, hey, Tesla did good. Should I long Google for the earnings? And I'm like, that makes no sense. Tesla is a car company. Google is a search engine.
I did start off that way. I did start off options buyer. I thought it was fake. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was doing. Like any beginner, I just had some money and I was like, what is this? So I remember my first week, I put all my money on Walmart, AMD, and Alibaba. I just bought like $2,000-$3,000 worth of calls, and I let it go to the end of the week, and I was up $45,000. And I was like, it's not real money. Like, this is bullshit, obviously, right? And then I withdrew it to my bank account, and I was like, oh shit, like this is real money. Like this is a thing. So I did it again the next week. Apple, Tesla, Alibaba, hit again. Another 40,000. I was like, okay, like what is this? And then I really dug in, started learning. But after that rapid and wild luck of success, there was no skill or anything behind it. It was just pure luck. And then I decided that, I made a lot of money. How do I keep it? And then I switched my mindset from like, okay, I've made some money. How do I preserve these funds? And that's when I became a full-time options seller, right? So I don't buy options, maybe once a year. I sell options for a living now because I realized that the casino always wins, and how in the trading world can I become the casino? And that's what's brought me here today.
It's very interesting. So after you had those initial gains, you were probably extremely excited. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how did you actually learn? Like, what resources did you use? Can you explain that journey? Because I think a lot of people, they get those initial gains. Sometimes they get a little lucky in the beginning and they end up blowing it all, but you kind of invested into the education after you made some initial money.
It was ICT, right? You watched ICT videos?
Oh, yeah, I watched ICT videos, and I decided to quit trading.
The unicorn model?
The unicorn is my favorite model. The fuck you max candlestick pattern, that's my favorite to date. 12% success rate, so I stick to it. After that, I had really seen some luck. To be honest, I joined a Discord. I joined a Discord back in the day. I found some guy, online, and when you start talking and doing things online, your phone's like, oh, I hear you, dog, and started curating all my social media to like options and Discords and shit like that. I joined a group and I just hyper focused on support and resistance. That was it. I literally did not practice or study anything else. I traded 3 or 4 stocks. That was it. And I stuck to them until I knew their support and resistance levels like the back of my hand. And then I started getting more success with those stocks, and then I started branching out. But that is literally all I traded was the 4 different types of support and resistance. And when they hit, I went in big. And that was it. But you got to remember back then too was a different time. Like, back then, SPY, the SP 500, right? When it moved $1, your contracts were up 500-600% that day, like massive, right? Because the volatility and the liquidity in the market was so greatly different than the end of the Donald Trump bull era, 2018, 2019 until now. I mean, if SPY moves $1, you're lucky to get 10-20% on your contracts now,
big
right?
time.
Big time. So it was totally different. So when you put $2,000-$3,000 on a call option or a put option, and that thing went, you would make, $10,000-$20,000 easily a week. So it was much different market, and that contributed to my success. And I hyper-focused on support and resistance. And then from there, I wanted more. And then that's when I started developing my own strategies, right? Because it's such an individual career. So I was like, support and resistance is working good for me. How can I make it more my style? And started building out like the Max Way style of trading.
That's a beautiful thing about trading, though, because you say you build your own style. You trade mostly support resistance. I know you trade open range breakouts. While mostly I trade liquidity levels. So I'm looking for liquidity pools, and that's all I'm trading. Well, then Emmanuel has a different strategy, his own style that and he actually learned from his dad. His dad is really well day trading. So it's great to see that like we have 3 different successful traders with different strategies. I'm sure to some degree we all kind of have some stuff that we look at together. Like, for example, risk management. At the end of the day, we all going to have a level of risk management, but we also can be successful finding our own path and our way. And I think it's what like the big thing about a beginner trader. They want to focus on so much on like, I just want to copy somebody. I don't really want to put in the work and the effort because they want to cut corners to build their own strategy and kind of curate it towards their levels of risk.
Right.
Or, they might be not comfortable with a wider stop loss, which mine tend to be a little bit of a wider stop loss, but I catch bigger moves. Maybe they just want to scalp. So I think it's important that like every trader that like ends up being successful, they were hungry enough to want to build their own strategy.
You have to build your own. It's the most individual career in the world. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it a gajillion times more. And I hate the conversation of sex, race, gender. None of that is applicable for trading. Nothing. It's all about you and knowing you and your own emotional control. It's you versus you. It's the only sport in the world where it's you versus you. That's it, right? And I think that's the most important thing people need to realize. Like you said, you can get into copying someone and it might work for a little while, but inevitably when it starts to fail, what do people do? They start to look for why it's failing. They start to place blame and they start to adjust and adapt, right? And then it becomes a little bit more for them. So it is the most individual career, and 3 successful traders can be sitting here and I could say, I will never, ever trade the same way you do. But we'll both sit here and be wildly successful in our own manner. And that's the best part about this shit.
So I should stop texting you the signals every morning?
Stop texting me.
You've been inversing and making a ton of money, actually? That's the truth?
Inverse Max, you will be very profitable right away.
That's funny. Well, soon to be 4 successful day traders, hopefully. How's
Soon to be 4.
What's it like? What's a Max like as a mentor or a coach?
Ooh.
Max is a little bit tough on me. I feel like sometimes when I do something good, he doesn't give me enough credit. I'm like, yo, I made this good trade today. He's like, you didn't do any contracts. I'm like, it was a paper trade. He's like, I made 57 cents today, but it was like the contracts on a paper trading thing. I'm like, can we just focus on the actual trade itself?
So what she's referring to is she was paper trading on TradingView today, but she was paper trading a share of QQQ. So it was a 57-cent move up on QQQ, and she sniped it perfectly on technical analysis that she's learned, and it was a beautiful thing. But I was like, listen, this is great. Let's get you on a prop and really see what you can do with some futures contracts. Let's put the numbers behind you. Let's put some actual trading, right? Because we all know paper trading doesn't come with that real emotional feel. So we did that. And then, I was like, that's good. But yeah, I am a tough coach because you are not going to impress me with, you have to, and she knows that now, but she has very impressed me a lot, 3 for 3 trades alone today. 3 for 3 alone.
That's better than me. I just did 1 and 1.
3 for 3.
That's better than me. But you know what? What's good? It's like you entered a trade. You enter a trade because you thought it was gonna be successful. So why are you getting praise for something that should have happened?
That's what I tell people, right? Who would fucking enter a trade and be like, I don't think I'm going to win this.
Exactly.
I think this is going to go bad for me, or I'll just average in when it goes wrong. Like, that's the totally wrong mindset. I have 100% conviction in every single trade I take. And that's what I'm trying to preach into her is, like, listen, like, I don't care if it went good. That's what's supposed to happen. So don't impress me with your wins. Impress me with how you built your success through those losses. So that's what I want to learn from is when she loses, okay, what did you do? How can we grow from it? Journal it, log, let's go to the next one.
100%.
And she's really, to be honest, killing it. For 9 months in, absolutely killing it.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you have already identified your own style and like trading personality? Because I feel like 9 months in, you kind of get an idea of your own trading plan, your own management plan. I'm sure even, you and Max, even though you're trading the same thing, you might manage that position completely differently.
Yes.
So do you feel like you've starting to develop that?
Definitely. So I'm a member of his Discord with Stock Dads. So I follow along with some of the traders on there. But so I was following one of the traders on there, and sometimes I'll notice like I don't want to enter this trade, like even though there's a notification for that because it's against what I would have done, and I actually end up entering a little bit later. And well, there was one time where they actually entered like a call or something, and the price went down, and I entered a put right after they had called for calls. So I was like, I have my own strategy down, and I ended up being right that time, and I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
That's important. Yeah, that's very important.
Wonderful.
So yeah, so I definitely pick and choose from different strategies that I watch. Like I've watched YouTube, and I have some of Max's things that he's taught me as well. So I've been learning about stuff like that and picking and choosing and making my own strategy.
I have a student like that. It just happened that he got in. He's became profitable now. He's gotten multiple payouts, and he's doing really well. And he told me, he's like, hey, I'm leaving. One of the main reasons I'm leaving, it's, you taught me everything. I'm super thankful to you. But I'm leaving because I don't want to change my trading. Like, let's say you're long, but he doesn't agree with it. It's very, very hard for him to be like, hey, my mentor's wrong.
Right.
And then I understand people that were like, hey, for some people, like they can't just change their bias. They can't just like not worry about like what somebody else is doing. So some of them are like better on their own. But if you're a complete beginner, getting the help of people that have been doing it for a while, like of course helps. But once you get to your own and like you're like, hey, I'm doing well. It's pick up the wings, leave the house, move to college, get out of here, pay rent.
I knew from the start I didn't want to like copy anybody's trades exactly. I wanted to learn for myself how to do it because I knew how important that would be in the future. Like, I don't want to depend on this Discord. What if they stop recording? Like, what if they just go off air and stop doing this every day? Then I'm effed. Like, so.
It's very important. It's super important. You have to take what you're taught and make it your own. Like when I joined the police academy, before you join the police academy, you actually go to work at like the police station, as for a couple months. You're a trainee. You're not certified. You're an uncertified officer. You can't do shit, right? You're just an uncertified waiting for your class date. But when you go, what they tell you is take what you just learned on the job, forget it all, and then you go learn everything in the academy. Then when you go to the academy, take everything from the books, learn it all, come back to work, and then learn the practical side of the job. So you take it, forget it, and then you put together the pieces that works. This is the actual job.
It's like college. You go to school, but then you forget everything.
Right.
When you go to college, you're like, do you remember like the Pythagorean theorem or how you're using it today? Like, did you have to use your life?
I use it in my trading strategy.
Y equals mx plus b.
First
right?
off, thank you for even thinking that I went to college because I did not. I'm a high school dropout.
Look, man, I went to college. I have I went to community college. What is that? An associate I have? I think.
You
I don't even know.
2 years. associate,
You can get your associates at a community college, and then you can move on to the paired university if you want to for a 4-year degree.
I believe you can get a bachelor's at a community college.
Some offer it. I'm not sure. I mean, you're talking. I'm an old man now,
Well,
so
my
it's a long time for me.
You know what the ad was for my community college? The Harvard of community colleges. So I didn't go to a regular community college. No, it was called Miracosta College in Oceanside, which is in California.
Right.
And their ad was, "We're the Harvard of community college." So at least I went to a good one. I mean, they just
I went
accepted
to Harvard.
of
No,
community
not that
college.
one.
Yeah,
I put really small community college.
Yeah, in
So,
Orlando, UCF, where my brother went, I dropped out after 9th grade and got my GED in October and started college in the fall at like 16 years old.
That's smart.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
because
honestly
I
that's
wanted
smart.
to live with, I wanted to stay with my older brother. And then I found out quickly that I had just turned 17 then, and college was not right for me. Like I was too young, too immature. I was out exploring and trying drugs, and I was the party class clown. I was like, this shit ain't fucking.
So nothing
working for me.
changes sometimes in life.
Nothing. Literally nothing. Yeah. So it didn't wind up working out. That was Val State, we called it. It was Valencia Community College in Orlando. It was the paired college with UCF. And it was a fun year, but didn't work out for me. Did not work out very good.
And when
at
did
all.
you join the military? Was it
In the
after
military,
that?
yeah. So I left there. I moved back home, and then I went into law enforcement. And that's where I started with like corrections, and I did that for 4 fucking years, which was great. It was fun, but I wanted more. A lot of the guys that I worked with in the prisons and such were Army Reserve or Navy Reserve, and I was like, man, I bet the military is fucking dope. Like, and then I was just so stuck. I was living in Port St. Lucie at the time, which is just a shithole, and I was living in the Pizzle, and the Pizzle sucks, and I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I can't just sit here and wait for the Mets to come once a year for some kind of excitement, right? So I joined the Army, and then a week before I was supposed to ship out for the reserves, I was like, I'm really done with this place. I switched it to an active duty contract, and I was like, and I want to be a paratrooper, and I want to be a fucking military police because I'm law enforcement, and that's all I know. And I got the contract, and a week later, I was off to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Crazy. That's like a very interesting story.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the few. Now, there's a few other traders that I know, military, that are pretty badass, you know.
I just did the reserve, so like you kind of look.
Weekend warrior, that's what we call them.
We're kind of like
warrior.
a second class soldier.
Yeah, no. Soldier is a fucking soldier, just like a Marine's a Marine. It's such a badass thing, like too.
Yeah, I mean, I joined. Dude, out of high school, I graduated 1 year before because when I moved from Italy to America, I got to skip a grade somehow. Like some paperwork got messed up. I don't know. I ended up 1 grade above. I like to think I was. I like to think I was very smart. I just looked really smart. I did go to Harvard Community College, so they moved me up.
Yeah.
And so I graduated when I was 17. So I went to boot camp that same year. I was like, I graduated. Buddy of mine had joined. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't even apply to any colleges. Like that's how That's how I was not into school at all. So then I just, all right, I'm signing up. My dad was a police officer in Italy, so he loves like all the law enforcement, the military. So he's like, yeah, go ahead. He signed right on.
Carabinieri? What do you say?
Carabinieri.
Carabinieri,
Good
yeah.
job. Good job.
Yeah.
Which is the Italian police.
Yeah.
Well, we have the Polizia and the Carabinieri, but he was a Carabinieri in Capri. So he had a really nice job. He didn't do anything.
Ooh, in Capri.
But still really cool. Yeah, and they were like, "Hey, we're giving you a $20,000 enlistment bonus," and I was like, "All right, that's
You got $20,000.
Well, listen to this. Then right before I shipped, they were like, "Actually, we lowered it to 15,000, and after taxes, I got 7,000." It was all. It was. I thought I was getting 20, and ended up with 7 somehow, but. It was a
Welcome
great
to the
experience.
Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always say the Army is like trying to eat a sandwich made out of soup with a fork. It's a fucking nightmare, dude. Let me tell you a fun military story. You want to hear a fun Army story? This is how I describe the Army to people. Shout out U.S. Army, you fucking dumbasses. This is the Army to people. When I joined the Army and you go through OSUT, I went through OSUT, which is your basic training and your specialized individual training combined. So I was with my drill sergeants the entire time. You didn't go from basic to another place to learn your job. Military police was one thing. So it was like 20 straight weeks of drill sergeants in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which sucks. And then when you first go through the Army, I remember you go through dental. They check your teeth. Your teeth are good. All right. So I had like a cavity or something. So they bring me to the dental clinic. I go in. They gas me for some reason, and I'm like, I don't remember shit. And I remember just standing in the hallway, and after I was like, what just happened? I'm like drooling, dripping blood. And then I start getting screamed at. And they're like, what's wrong with you? All you did was get a filling. And I'm like, looking at her like, they just fucking ripped out at least 2 teeth. And then they mixed up my chart with the soldier next to mine, didn't verify my name. They pulled my teeth, right? Then they said, damn, we fucked up. Listen. We're going to get you to the dental board. We're going to get this to the dental board right away, and we're going to prove you for a fake tooth. We'll drill it in, whatever it's called, the process, and we'll get you a tooth. Goes into the dental board. By this time, I get to my first duty station. I'm in Vicenza, Italy. I was stationed with the best unit in the military, the 173rd, fucking IBCT, and then they deny my tooth, and they say the rest of your teeth are too straight and too good, so we deny the implant. I say, you pulled my tooth, you fucked up and pulled my tooth, then you denied the implant? And they're like, yeah, the rest of your mouth's too good. There's no reason for the implant. And I was like, sick. Like, that's my first taste of the Army. And that's my story to describe to people how great the military is. So they yak my shit, and then they're like, sorry, Hoss, nothing we can...
sue them?
You can't sue the Army. You're under, that's not a thing. And they're like, sorry, Hoss, nothing we can really do for you here. Nice smile, buddy. Like,
So did you end up
What
like
team?
getting dental work later? Or
no,
what
dog, I'm missing a fucking tooth.
Oh, it's still
Oh
missing?
my god.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
like
never knew
volatility in the
that.
stock market. Yo, yeah, I'm up, and the next thing news comes out, you just lost
Right.
everything.
Oh,
The,
God.
the army and the markets kind of
Yeah.
have some.
If I had to compare
volatility
the
there.
Army to the stock market, it would be like an earnings report. You can have a good outlook, EPS, revenue. The CEO's like, we're crushing it, and the stock drops 5%. And it's like, why did that happen? It's like,
Look,
you'll
every
never
other
know.
earning, or the complete opposite. The stock is terrible. They're not making money. They're selling no cars, but somehow like, yeah, this is the best stock ever. 20%.
We're going bankrupt. Nothing's really worked for us this year. We're firing 10,000 people, though. It's like, oh, 26. Yeah.
Well,
Love that.
Amazon did that. I remember when they were announcing layoffs, and then the immune, and people were like, "Why is immune?"
Yeah.
Like, well, the companies are making more money, less people to pay, and
Yeah.
like the biggest expense a lot of times for companies is the employees.
I think Tesla and like the uprise of Tesla really brought like earning reports to the forefront of like trading for a while. Like I feel like that 2020 to like 2022
Best
thing,
time, dude.
people were just
Best.
loving earnings reports. I mean, that was just like the thing, like Tesla, Amazon, like the big five, right? It was like, oh my God, we're going all in. It's going up $100. And those things were moving like wild. Like you'd see $100 move on Amazon pre-split. And those contracts would be up $3,000 per con. And it was like the wildest time in the market. And I'm guilty of it. I used to put $20,000 to $30,000 on an earnings report. And I'd wake up and be like, oof, $82. Like that sucked. But then in the same respect, I'd be like, I just made $80,000 in 2 hours. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, Amazon was one of my big ones. I had like a really killer earnings, and I made a huge bag on it. This was before they did this place. So it was like $2,000 like stock share, and yeah. But now like that is laid off a lot. Like we had earnings with Tesla. Tesla killed it.
Killed it.
20%.
Yep.
I know Google came out today. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if it's
Nope.
is it up or down. Nobody
Nope.
knows. We'll see. Google never really does like anything crazy, but we got Apple, Microsoft, it's a ton of stuff, and we also have like the presidency next week. Which is
Huge
gonna
election.
be-
Now, I remember when Joe Biden got elected and the market gapped up, it must have been $15 to $20. The day Joe Biden was officially announced the winner, the market gapped up huge. And it was up $20, $25 on SPY. It's crazy. But by the end of the day, I think it was only up like $5 to $8. Now, you could check me on that, but I'm 90% sure I remember that day because I think I lost like 200 grand that day because I had credit spreads, which back then I was swinging credit spreads like I thought that was a good idea. But you lose 200 grand in a week, you'll stop doing that shit real quick. So I remember it gapped up very largely with the volatility included around the elections and stuff. So this time around, I plan to sit back with my popcorn and enjoy the show. But it's important to remember these types of volatile, huge economic, high importance news days, they're all priced into the volatility, into the contracts already. It's all very fluid. So like as an option seller, to me, I'm just getting paid a premium now for something that I've already been doing because the contracts are going to cost a fucking arm and a leg.
Yeah, people are going to gamble before. I mean, people can literally gamble
People will
already.
gamble
Did you see Robin actually came out with a futures ticker that you can bet on if it's Kamala or Trump? I don't remember.
I saw
it
they
was on the
partnered with
news,
someone with
which
that,
is pretty
yeah.
awesome. I think it's awesome. A lot of people call it gambling. I'm like, maybe I like a little bit of gambling.
I love it, and I love the fact that you can bet on Trump. I mean, I don't know who would bet on Kamala, to be honest with you. I would. I mean, which Kamala? Country Kamala. Fucking Pastor Kamala. I don't know. Redneck Kamala. I don't know which one you're gonna. You should be like, you can bet on Donald Trump. Or you can bet on there should be like 8 different Kamalas you could bet on. To be,
I love those compilations.
Jamaican Kamala,
Jamaica, I mean,
Puerto Rican Jamala.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jamala.
Spanish Kamala was one of the best ones.
The compilations are awesome because I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that too. If I a lot of times hang out with a friend that's Serbian and I'll pick up his accent a little bit, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, man, I might be like Kamala a little bit. Like I see her, I'm like, I do the same, and she's like, you do the same. My wife told me, she's like, you do the same. But I blame that I'm not from America. I'm from Italy, so
Right.
like I don't even know to speak English. I
Right.
don't even. I'm blabbering half the time. You can just skip through it.
You're not American. You're an Italian.
I have an excuse.
You're speaking a secondary language right now fluently and very well. She's running for president of the United fucking States, and she's putting on all these your Puerto Rican accent or something. I don't get it. It's all very cringy to me. Don't get me started.
But I think
That's
the important thing is when it comes down to the markets and like the presidency, it's like as long as the polls are saying, hey, this candidate is more than likely win, and that stays the course. The market just likes that nothing crazy happened. They don't want any crazy news. They don't want any big swing in one direction. Actually, the markets, what they love is a gridlock economy, where the Senate is blue, for example, and the president is a Republican, and they can't get anything done. So the markets are like, the government is staying out of this. We don't want you guys. We want to do our own thing, and the less laws you pass to mess with us, the more we like it. That's honestly what the markets want.
At the end of the day, like the way I trade now and the style I am, like trading and stuff, like I don't give a shit what happens. And like you said just now with Google, I don't look at post-hour news and I don't look at early morning news anymore. I refuse to look at it because I truly believe a market needs to open at 9:30 and I need to have zero bias, zero opinion of what's going to happen, because I think that being a reactionary trader to the candlesticks is what makes me such a good trader. So I don't give a fuck what happens from 4:30 p.m. Eastern until 9:30 tomorrow morning. And that's going to happen with the election, and that's going to happen with all that. At the end of the day, like, of course, I have the person I want to be voted in, Donald. Like, I want to vote. I voted for Donald Trump. I want him to be the president. But I do understand at the end of the day, 4 years from now, the market's still going to be there. It's most likely going to go up statistically, right? And like, and actually, with a Democratic president, it will go up statistically more than with a Republican president. So, as a trader, someone who's looking at the S&P 500 long term, is it going to affect my career? Maybe, with some of the volatility and the events that could happen. You know, the high risk news, wars, things like that. But 4 years from now, I expect the market to be higher than it is a week from today. So, you know, what's really going to happen?
So, what do you recommend, like your students, for example? I'm sure you probably get a lot of questions in your Discord. Hey, you know, the election's coming up. What are you doing? Like, how do we make money? What do you say to them? Like, how, you know, especially if you're a beginner trader, I'm sure you would think that, you know, there's going to be crazy moves come election. Everyone's going to make all this money.
Yeah. I mean, I've traded, like I said, I've traded an election before, and this is going to be my second election as a trader. And I think the best thing that you can do, honestly, to mitigate risk overnight. You know, overnight is when most market moves happen, but it's also the most risky. So if you minimize your overnight risk potential of swing trades, and you just take it day by day and manage your risk appropriately. I mean, but if a strategy is working for you, it's not really going to change, because with high importance news days, I sit out. I don't trade high importance news days. So anytime Jerome Powell or any federal chair or FOMC or anything during the market is trading, I don't trade those days. Why? And I say this line all the fucking time to every one of my students. I'm going to be here tomorrow. The market's going to be here tomorrow. But are you going to be trading here tomorrow? Or are you going to be some kind of idiot that's playing the election day? I'm bullish on Donald Trump. What if Donald Trump wins and the market drops $50? We don't fucking know. If we did, we'd all be trillionaires, right? So that's what I say. Just manage. Everyone has to manage their risk their best way possible. Some people can't do that. Some people can. I think I might take the whole month off, but I understand that I'll come back and I'll be profitable regardless.
I think there's a huge misconception, and this, like, one of the most common questions I get, especially for earnings reports, where someone would be like, oh, like, do you think this company is going to report good earnings? If they do, like, are you going to be buying? And like right off the bat, even if they do, you kind of mentioned it, even if they do report good earnings, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up. Like,
no.
There's no correlation between the news and what's actually going to happen. Yet everyone tries to buy the news, sell the news. That's another thing that I do. Like I trade a lot of gaps, for example, where, you know, especially during like now earnings season, company reports earnings, it moves overnight. The next morning, I analyze the gap, what it's doing, and then I develop a bias based off the price action.
Right.
I don't even look at why the stock gapped, whether it had good earnings or not.
Right.
And that's, like, people don't understand that. You have to focus on the price action.
Gap traders. I mean, gap traders, perfect example. Like, there's two things you can do there. You have the gap and go, or the gap and fade, right? Is it going to fade that gap and fill,
100%,
or is it going to gap and continue on?
Yeah.
But you really can't tell until there's some time and price action behind that gap. And there's a common misconception that all gaps need to be filled. Wrong. You could go back 30 years and find a gap in some of these stocks. They do not need to be filled. They can go up. There's a gap from COVID down by 280 on SPY. Do you think the market is going to drop 50%? If it does, we have a lot bigger problems in the world than that fucking gap fill, right? We have a lot bigger problems. You think I'm going to give a shit about that gap fill when my 401k was just slashed in half and no one 55 years old can fucking retire now for 10 more years? Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things people just get these opinions or misconceptions on in the market. And I think it's important that, you know, and especially like with my reaction videos, right? I'm like the king of fucking reactions now. This is what I do. But one of my favorite things is calling out the bullshitters, because in our field, how many scammers, how many pieces of shit are there that just have that dark cloud over our profession? So many, and it's so aggravating to me. And those are the people misleading and causing those misconceptions and those biases and opinions in the market that are not evidence-based or factual. And that fucking drives me nuts. Drives me nuts.
You're kind of like a police officer of the social media now.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
you
do fuck, yeah.
Like moderates the trade
I'm like the
community.
fucking Eric Cartman of trading, baby. Respect my authority. You know, like fucking.
Max will come across your page and it will either verify you or unverify you. Like, no, this dude's full of shit. He's paper trading. And that's honestly like one of the worst things with the prop first space. It's like you see these guys are like, I made $15,000 today as a 19-year-old day trader. And it's like,
yeah.
I hate that.
it's like $50 Apex accounts they bought.
So,
and they're
I
like,
guess we were saying that yesterday.
and it gives people the wrong perception.
Dude,
I think it's easy.
The
It's
prop
not.
space. Let's talk about the prop space. This has become the
Mo-
fucking
I would
thing.
say most.
This is the thing now. We have
the hot
shifted
thing.
into prop and future space. This is what no one gives a fuck what your options contract is at 100% anymore.
I
was,
missed that.
That was a year ago. That was 2-3 years ago. Now, let me see those 20 funded accounts and let me see what you did, per day. You green, red.
Your
let me
little
see
certificate, print out a certificate,
Show me
hang
your
on the wall.
cert, show me your payout. Like, to be honest, none of that matters to me, but I want to see the money hit your bank account. You can't impress me, and she knows that too. You can't impress me very easily with any good trade or any of that. I need to see the money hit your bank account. I've had 22 payouts. 22 payouts from my prop. I only use Apex. I think it's great. And I've blown 60 fucking accounts on Apex, right? So, I mean, you have your balance there. But to me, I have made more money than I've spent on a prop. And I think that's the only thing. If you don't have an ROI, then you're not impressing fucking nobody.
Yeah, I have a coin right now. I have a Top Step account. It's up $10,000, right? So I can withdraw it if I want to do. But in the back of my head, I'm like, non-farm payrolls coming up. I could just risk it all. So I'm always kind of using the props because I kind of see it's like, I don't care. At the end of the day, because I have my own live account. I make money on my own. I can kind of like itch that gambling part of me, which I don't think new traders should do. But like once you've been in the market for 10, 11 years, it's a different story. But one of the questions I had actually was, me and Manuel were talking about this yesterday because it's kind of been a hot topic on social media. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you feel about influencers / educators? So guys like us, they're like, hey, I teach you how to day trade, owning a prop firm. A lot of people are like, hey, that's a conflict of interest. You can't teach people, but then kind of pray they fail, so they lose their account and you make more money on your own prop firm.
Right. Okay.
Now, none of us own prop firms here, so we are like just giving you guys.
So the prop firm space, like, all right, it's a Ponzi scheme, right? They make money on the losers and they give it to the winners, right? You take money from Jim and you give it to fucking John, like that, whatever you want to call it. At the root of it, I'm gonna get a little conflict for saying that statement, right? But fuck you, Bernie Madoff. So like that's what it is. And yes, as an affiliate, I'm an affiliate with Apex, right? Like so, but I don't care if they get profitable. I want them all to get paid out. They can sign up, they can do whatever. I think it should be illegal for prop firm like Top Step TV. Should be illegal for me. How do you go on there and show negative $20,000 fucking dollars and all of your people that are watching and doing that, and now they have to go buy more of your product, right? Like, so that is I think there definitely is conflict of interest there at the end of the day. And now you have all these props blowing up and they're on social media fucking going at each other's throats. And I just think it's become a very ugly space. I think it's blown up too quick, too fast. And a lot of these companies are going to get destroyed in the next few years. Absolutely. I mean, look what happened to all these fucking forex crypto firms or whatever. Look how fast that went up like this, and then that absolutely collapsed, right? Look at NFTs. Look at all those spaces where they blow up, they get ugly, and they tank, just like any stock, any pump and dump.
But do you feel like maybe the fact that, a lot of them went up and like it became really, really popular super quickly, that is necessary to weed out all of the prop firms that are like genuinely very sketchy and scammy, where like the ones that remain are the ones that like, obviously it's in their best interest for someone to fail a challenge.
Well, does popularity, is that a direct correlation and relationship with legitimacy?
That's true as well.
Is the most popular firm the most legit firm? There's no way to really tell that, I don't know the answer to that. I know that a lot of these firms, even the large ones, eventually the reason they go down is they run into liquidity issues. They have problems paying out fucking funded traders. They get smacked. You have 1 week in the market where every day is just up. They're going to get crushed. They're going to get absolutely crushed. So, it's really tough to say. I think the best thing to do is to just, take advantage while you can. I want every trader to I want every prop to go collapse. I want every trader to make it, millions off them and get paid. That's what I want. I want the people to get fucking paid. I want all of us to make $100,000 a day off these assholes.
So if prop firms were a stock right now, would you go long or short?
If prop firms were a stock right now, I think that most of them would be gone in 3 to 4 years, and I would short the living fuck out of it.
Well, I remember proprietary firm, the real ones, when I first got into day trading in 2014 to 17, I would Google it. And it was like ones that you actually had to pay, like have some skin in the game. They will give you some funds, but you had to go through a whole course.
Yes.
They had to test you.
I remember
You had
that.
to take like paper trading for a few months before they even were willing to give you money.
Right.
And one of the mentors I studied under, Lance Bryceline, he was a proprietary trader. He traded for a big prop, but he was a legit prop. You weren't paying $100 and here's some money,
Right.
pass the challenge. No, it was like you had to go to the office. They had an office in New York City. Now they have one in Miami. And it was a legitimate, like almost like a hedge fund level, but
Right.
they were actively trading. So that was like how I knew prop firms. And then when this whole like blew up in like, I think it started on the forex side, 2021 and
Right.
on, it's been insane. And I think a lot of it is like, it's so easy to start a prop firm nowadays too, that everybody wants to
You
do
can
it.
white label it.
Yeah,
You can
and
white
they all
label it.
start cutting rules like, hey, first it was 10%, you need 30 days to pass, but then
Right.
they got rid of it. Like one prop comes out like, we do no 30 days. Then another one comes out, actually our target is even lower, and then they just go lower and lower till like, hey, you have no margins there, and then you end up
Right.
collapsing because they're competing against each other.
They're competing against each other, and it's such a saturated field right now where they have to change the rules to give themselves an edge for new traders to want to come to that prop versus the other ones. And if you look at the evolution of change that we've seen in variation in the rules in such a short term, you used to have to put skin in the game.
Yep.
You used to have to take a course and all this shit just to get a little bit of funding. You know, hey, we'll give you 10 grand, right? And it would cost you $500 a month. Back when Top Step first opened, a 50K account was like $400 a month, and that's it. You know, and then we went from these are hundreds of dollars a month down to changing the rules. Now we're getting more competition. We're lowering the price. Now Apex has an 80, 90% sale. You can get a 250K account for $33. And now it's like, and now you see the props, you know what? We don't even have an evaluation. We're back at $400, but you could skip the evaluation and you're a funded trader now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so you see how that's what I was referring to. It's just rapidly changing, and I think that's going to cause serious issues for a lot of these companies.
I think it's gonna be like elections. We gotta just sit back, grab our popcorn, and see what happens. I have no horse in the race. Of course, I have some prop firms I prefer over other ones because I think the rules are better. But
Right.
I don't own one. I don't care. You know, that's why.
Yeah.
Like my thing is a trader. Like I'm coming out with my own software to help traders get better, back test better.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something that was like I actually want to help people get better at their trading. I don't really want to prey on like if they fail or
Right.
no. I don't even want to know about it.
Right.
I just want to give you a tool that maybe helps you, hopefully, or maybe doesn't.
Yeah, dude, I'm a trader, I'm an educator, and I'm an entertainer, right? Like those are the things that I want. Like I don't care about another company. That's your company. That's your business. Run it as you want. But at the end of the day, like you said, I want traders to succeed. That's what I want. I want traders to succeed and not get fucked over. So any way that I can help do that, I'm going to. That's the main thing.
Well, Bitcoin broke all-time highs. I believe it was all-time highs today. If now it's like right there.
Right there, yeah.
Do you guys think people should be investing in crypto? Is that a real asset that people should be putting maybe a little bit of money in? That's worth
What
it.
are your thoughts about it? I'm curious.
All right, so to me, I mean, I'm going to say flat out, crypto is a scam. Crypto is 100% a scam. Now, I've said that statement publicly. I say it on my social media. I say it during my videos, and I will continue to say crypto is a scam. But I've never ever said the words Bitcoin is a scam. All right? Cryptocurrency is a scam, and I think just like what we spoke about, I think there's just a ton of bad fucking publicity and juju. You know, you have your crypto brokers and the biggest names in the game and your SBFs and all of that who are in prison now because of all these bullshit that they're doing. You have your pumpers and dumpers and your shit coins like, you know, your Solana. Look at Solana. That is the craziest shit I've ever seen with some of the names of these tokens that have $100 billion market cap is crazy to me. And I don't think that should be fucking like allowed. It should be regulated. It should be confirmed. Like if my broker goes under tomorrow, I get my money back, right?
Well, that happened to me with regulated broker. I had money in both Celsius and Coinbase, likely not FTX, but
Right.
they were regulated American companies, and
Right.
I got some of it back because Bitcoin now was like 20K, and I got, hey, we're just gonna give you a piece of it, so
Right.
it sucked. But you know, and then I think it's a lot of it also with like the prop firm space. It's so easy to anybody can do. Anybody can go to ChatGPT and they'll probably give you code and build your own coin. Then
Right.
pay some people $10,000. Can you post it? This
Right.
coin's going to do this, and then you rug everybody. And how many stories we heard about that one? That's what like exactly. So
Right.
that's my beef with that. Now I think there is a world where you can use it to make money, like penny stocks. Like,
Correct.
You make money
Yeah.
and then you get out. You
You can make
stay
you
for
can
the
make
long
millions.
term.
I know people, friends of mine from high school, who are crypto multimillionaires, and I'm super happy for them. Like, that's great. That's wonderful. But until there's regulation, until there's guide, and I get it, if you're anti-fiat and you're like, that's the whole purpose and everything, and then Bitcoin, the supply and demand is great. What is it, 20 million, 21 million in supply, and that's all there ever be. That's a beautiful supply and demand for long-term investing, right? So I get it. I do understand the concepts and everything, but I just feel like until there's regulation saying, hey, you can do this and my money's actually safe, protected, insured, until then, when Cum Hat or fucking Cum Rocket or what was Safe Moon,
Doge,
Moon,
Shiba,
I mean, when all these
hundreds of them.
fucking coins come and they go just as fast, and how many people did they leave broke? You're not. It's not like 90% of people are making money and then 10% are losing. It's the opposite. So that's my biggest gripe and issue with it, and I will stick by that until we see some regulation. And I think with DJT coming in, hopefully in office, I think we will get that regulation. And you know what? When that happens, I'll buy one whole fucking Bitcoin live on Instagram.
I think ultimately, like 99% of the cryptos that we're seeing right now, they're all going to end up going to zero. I think Bitcoin, I think that is a legitimate asset. I just think if you know what you're doing, you actually take profits on the way up, you can make some money. But I think there's a huge crypto community that are waiting for the time where you actually see utility coins start, making a presence. For example, there's tons of like gaming infrastructure coins. There's tons of AI coins that are actually providing technology. They're actually providing solutions that big companies may need, especially in the AI space. A lot of AI companies, they struggle with processing power, for example. There are AI coins that solve that issue. But the problem is right now, you look at everybody, first of all, retail is not in crypto yet at all, but everyone who is in crypto, they're literally just trading memes, which have zero
That's where
utility,
the dopamine
zero
is,
value.
man. That's where the gambling, that's what they want.
I'm betting on, I invested quite a bit into crypto, but I put it all into utility. I'm betting on the fact that in this bull run, we are going to move on and we're going to see actual adoption. We're going to see maybe bigger gaming studios start to implement blockchain into their games, into their technology, which, it's a big bet. We'll see what happens, obviously. But ultimately, I know that, if we see a Bitcoin bull run, shit's going to go up. It's about making money. It's about taking profits on the way, being smart about it. That's what no one knows how to do.
100%. And it's listen, I could sit here and say, my heart says crypto is a scam. But the same people I'm talking to right now, they say, fuck you, options are a scam, and your time decay, and that is a scam. And then people say, well, the stock and the dollar is a scam. And then those same people are like, well, what about gold traders? Gold's the real scam. So it's just this giant revolutionary circle of whatever people believe is comfortable and they're comfortable with. I get it. You could shit on my options selling all day. I'm cool with it because I'm going to shit on what you probably do. I got it. But when that, like you said, that I'm here for all that. I just need to know that I'm insured, protected, and it's got a good name and a backing behind it. And then I think it's going to be awesome. I think it has the potential to truly be great. And I just don't think we're there right now because, like you said, 99% of the market is trading fucking dog with hat. And that's crazy to me.
I think this is going to be the last bull run where we see just truly ridiculous shit, where, alts going up thousands of percents and then they drop 70, 80%, I think this is going to be the last time. I think after this, they're going to begin regulating this, which is something that you mentioned, especially with Bitcoin. Even Bitcoin, it went to, what was it? I forget the all-time high in the previous bull run, 60-something thousand, I believe, maybe a little less. And then it collapsed to 16.
Yep.
No investor is going to look at that and be like, yeah, I'm going to hold this super long term. I mean, some people do, obviously, but the everyday person, they're not going to do that while you go to the S&P and you get
There was a
gains.
ton of memes coming out about people who are like, Bitcoin's at 60, I'm buying. And then when it drops to 20, they're like, oh, I would never buy Bitcoin at 20,000, dog shit. It's
it's crazy, yeah.
But that's how the markets work, even with the stock market during COVID. I remember when it was dropping, you're like, wow, the S&P down was it's down 30%. It's literally free money to buy. But people just didn't care. They were like, I just want to be out of the market.
If I was,
and then it went to all-time highs.
If I was a Bitcoin buyer right now, I would look at it more as an antique. Like, as our grandparents were buying things and they're like, this might have value later on in life and I could pass this down my family. That's how I would look at Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I would look at this as a buy and never sell thing. Just hold it, transfer it to your kids' kids, see what happens 100 years from now. Because if it does come to fruition the way all of the early adapters now think it will, then you're doing your great grandkids a huge favor right now. So if you're going to be it, I would just say Bitcoin. Look at it as an antique, pass it down your family, and they could forever be thankful. It has that potential.
I think the idea of it being a legitimate currency is very appealing because there's only 21 million Bitcoin, right? You have a finite amount versus the US dollar. They could just print the hell out of it.
Print it and let it rip.
I think it's very appealing for people who are looking at that and saying, okay, I'm going to lose money on inflation anyway. How can I store my money? And for example, okay, you can buy gold, but with gold, you can't be carrying around gold, like pieces of gold. How are you going to, you know what I mean? How are you going to split it? Like Bitcoin, you could split it very, very easily. It's digital.
You can send it to people.
You could send it to people.
In seconds.
Gold, I gotta go over your house and bring it over.
You could send hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin to a wallet. You don't have to sign paperwork. You don't have to talk to the bank. You don't have to. I got a text message from my bank. Do I have to confirm this? I think that's very appealing for people, especially highly wealthy people that are like, hey, I want to skip all that, that nonsense.
And now, you think about it, when you look at tax regulation on cryptocurrency, a lot of people are enjoying the sweet benefits of cryptocurrency and swapping their actual dollars or payment processing through cryptocurrency because of the major tax benefits right now, because they don't know what the fuck to do with it. They're like, well, what's it going to do? What's going to happen? But we'll see. Only time can tell. And when I'm an old man, I want to be like, I don't want to say I'm right. I don't want to be like, oh, it was all a scam. I want to be like, that shit got regulated. It was badass. I bought 10 of them. And my grandkids are fucking multimillionaires, you know?
100%.
So,
and a lot of people may make a lot of money with it.
I'm always rooting for people to make money, man.
So we have some questions. I posted a story. We do every show, post a story with a Q&A. So we'll see what people want to know about me, Max, and everything. Pick some of the best one. Well, one of them is, what did you tell yourself when you went on endless losing streaks trying to be profitable? If you went, maybe you were just profitable off the bat. I don't know.
I was profitable from day one. I told you guys. My profitability
but
is
even
never
when you were
red.
profitable at times, you can go through a losing streak. So like, how do you approach that?
Yeah.
How do you stay positive? You're like, hey, my strategy doesn't suck. I just gotta kind of go through it.
Yeah, no, listen, I think the most reason why people go through losing streaks is because they're either A, testing out new things, right? Testing out new strategies, concepts without back testing or proof of concept, or B, market shift, market structure, market conditions have changed, and maybe your strategy is not 100% implementable right now. But I think sticking to it, like I have had a strategy now that I've built, that I've curated to me. It is basically me on paper, and it worked. And I back tested it through the last 10 years, so I could say every day, like, this is going to work for me. And so even when I'm losing, like I had a rough week last week. Last week, my option selling strategy that has been profitable for years, massive ROIs, we took about 9,000 in losses. That's pretty steep. That's pretty steep on a 35K account, right? But I have no doubt in my mind it's going to come back. And I think that it comes with experience. It comes with understanding, and it comes with like the risk management. Like I know the strategy works over the course of long term. Everything I do, I look at long term. Even though it's a 0 DTE strategy, give me the 0 DTE data for years, and then we'll see how it goes.
And a lot of people don't understand how statistics work. And when you're trading, it's statistics. So let's say I have a 70% win rate strategy. It's not every 10 trades is 7 wins, 3 losses. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
It will be streaks of maybe you win 5, then you lose 4, then you go on a 9 win streak, then you lose 2, then maybe you go on a 7 losing streak. And people don't know, if you have a 70% win rate, there's 100% or 99.9% certainty that over 2 years, you will lose 15 trades in a row. But you're like, how's that possible? It's a 70% win rate. It should be always 10 and 7 wins, 3 losses. It doesn't work like that because it's more streaky, and people just don't understand statistics.
You need a large sample size.
They don't backtest.
You need a large sample.
Yeah, it's like science. Whenever they conduct any type of study, they take a massive sample size. I think another point is, with a lot of people refuse to adapt their strategies. Like your strategy, you probably had over the years, you had to tweak it a little bit. Potentially. You know what I mean?
There's not version 1 or 2. There's version 1, version 6 or 7.
And every time you tweak it, it becomes more and more efficient. You become better at it. I think a lot of people, they make money and then they develop that ego and they refuse to admit that, hey, my current strategy isn't making money anymore. My current
Right.
strategy isn't perfect, and I have to adapt. And it's like people refuse to do that. They're unable to adapt, and then from there, they get hit. You
Right.
know?
100%.
A really easy example is if you guys remember during 2020, 2021, we had a bull run. If you traded, for example, really easy one, a bull flag, right? We all know what a bull flag looks like. You were actually killing it. Like they had a really high win rate, very profitable. But if you just kept using it like in the next 2022, 23, 24, you would have lost all your profit and more. So you have to understand like, hey, what kind of market environment are you in? If your strategy stops working over a long period of time, you need to go back to the drawing board and not just kind of tough it out. So there's a lot there that you can you need to learn, but it also understand it's hey, losses are part of the game, so you have to be okay with it. You know, you can't.
What do
just
you
be,
think? You've done my strategies for a few months now, and we recently took a couple losses, and you were texting me about them. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I actually was thinking about something else. So, but I wanted to say something about the strategies. So sorry, can I
No,
just
go-
say
yeah,
what
yeah,
I wanted
yeah,
to say
yeah.
first?
Yeah.
About being a woman doing trading, I'm surrounded by so many men. Lots of men are like most of the videos I watch. And you guys are talking a lot about how it's like it's hard for you to change the strategy a little bit or tweak it. I think men have a big ego. They don't want to admit they're wrong. And as a woman, I feel like, I've been doing trading for like maybe 9 months now, but only like the last 3 months I really started. Like I was researching for like the first 6
right.
months. So in the last 3 months, I feel like I have progressively like gotten so much better because I am like already making my own strategy. Like I'll admit when I'm wrong. Like I'm tweaking like my little things, building my strategy. And I think that's an important part is a lot of men need to get over that barrier. Whereas a woman, I can admit I'm wrong and kind of, it's a psychology thing,
First off, how dare you? Secondly, who do you think you? No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's wonderful.
our
but-
pod.
Yeah. How dare you?
No, but I think that can help. I think that can
Man
help
and
people.
woman are equal. No, I
think
Is
you're
to get
absolutely
over
right.
that because a lot of guys will be like, "No, I'm winning. This is good." Whereas I would be like, "Okay, I start to see this thing that's not
That's
working."
me when I'm driving and like I'm like, no, I know bokeh. My wife's like, just put the directions, please. You're gonna take us the wrong way. And I'm like, no, I know it. And then take us the wrong way. And then she's like, no, the direction said you went the wrong way. I'm like, no, I know a shortcut.
Yeah.
But I just know I went the wrong way.
I
I
agree
can't
with
admit
that.
it.
There is some inflexibility issues for sure. Ego and pride.
So, did you want to ask me something else about the?
I don't remember what the question
It
was.
was something.
I think it
about
was
your
about how
selling
do you deal? How are
strategy.
you dealing currently with, or at some point, whenever you take too many losses in a row? That was the
Right.
question. And you're a beginner
Well-
trader. Like, how do you
She's a
feel?
beginner trader. I know the right answer.
Do you
was
question your
extra
mentor?
Okay,
emotional.
I was a little
She
emotional
was very
about
emotional.
it
Really?
because
Just blame
I
Max.
was texting you. If I was very emotional, I'd be like, Max, I'm
She
pissed
was
off.
texting me like, "What the fuck? We just took a loss," and then she said something
Okay,
else, and then I wouldn't
listen.
respond, and then 10 minutes later, she's
Listen.
like, "I shouldn't have said
Okay,
that."
I am under a lot of stress right now because I quit my job recently because I went back to school for my nurse practitioners. So right now I'm in school and I'm also pursuing trading. And so for me, I don't have an income. So it is stressful when I take a few losses and lose a few $1,000s.
Are
So
you-
that was all.
But they
I
were
was-
paper trading.
Are you
though.
trading on live account? Yeah,
No,
I thought you
so
were
I
paper trading.
am doing the selling strategy.
Don't let her fool you. She's got 10K in a Schwab, rocking and rolling.
Okay.
Yeah, she's banging out some trades.
But you know,
Now it's like 700.
That's the futures.
Or
I'm teaching her
7,000 something.
futures with props, and then she's doing my option selling strategies live.
but it's important also you are in school and you're trading, and I would say most people that I mentor or I teach, a lot of them are in school and trading. So like, is it easy to manage the two, or like how are you finding that?
Well,
the balance?
I am in a part-time program, so I only have class once a week. So, like, as of now, I only have class once a week. So it's been okay, and I actually used to be on a night shift schedule, so that was really hard for me to do trading with because if I want to trade at 9:30 in the morning, I get home from work at 7:30 in the morning. Not even, like probably 8. I'm exhausted. I just worked 13 hours,
It's very
So-
tough to explain to a new trader who's trading for money that the worst thing you can do is trade for money.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a very hard thing to explain is like we trade because I said there's two types of traders. There's traders who trade for
And
money.
I've heard that
there's-
so many times
And there's
today,
fucking
so
liars.
that's been ringing
Like
in
we're all
my
trading
head,
for
too.
money, but the worst thing to do is trade for money. So it's like, God, this sucks.
I think especially in the beginning, you said that, you quit your job, you didn't have, currently, I guess you don't have an income, you're in college. Well, I think a lot of people, they quit their job trying to pursue trading, and then they think they're relying off of their trading profits as a beginner trader to pay their bills, and then they can't actually learn and trade objectively because it's emotion. Oh, I got to pay the bill.
Dude,
This
stop.
trade
That's a
needs
really
to win.
good point.
You know what I mean?
I don't have bills. I
Oh,
stay
well,
at home
that
with my
helps.
parents.
Oh, no, but that's
So
smart.
the only thing I'm worried about is paying for eating out, like eating food out and clothes. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Which
I have a
is
girlfriend.
good
That's a
place to
huge
be.
expense.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
no longer my
Yeah.
student.
That's
No.
a good place. No, but that's a good. Like I pray to God. I'm religious. I thank God every day. I thank him because even though I have no money in my bank account, I can eat whenever I want, usually. Usually I can eat whenever I want. And I have more clothes than fit in my closet.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. It's little things like that. And then when you're driving on the street and it's a beautiful day, you have to be grateful for everything, just everything in general. And when you're trading and like me, I've been learning that lesson lately. You can't be relying on trading like for money. You have to really use your strategy to get by. Like you have to keep following that and perfecting it and getting better with it.
And with day trading, it's not every day you're making money. Like you maybe one day you're up 1,000.
And
Next
some
day
days
you're
you
down
won't even want to
200.
trade. If that trade, especially for me, since I'm a beginner and I only have like one really strategy I'm working on, like I'm not super experienced on some of the trend lines Max is showing me. I'm like, I just want to use like a different zone of like support and resistance than what he shows me sometimes. So sometimes just looking at little like details I won't pick up on and I want to focus on my strategy. And that kind of works better for me than trying to dive deeper into things.
Well, I think it's taking a step at a time. Like whenever you
Yes,
start
taking
something
one step
new,
at a
you
time.
don't want to like just learn everything. 'Cause then there's too much.
You can't.
One of the issues I think with trading is like you can go YouTube and find a million people making videos. And I think that sometimes hurts new traders because you're over learning too many things that don't even matter.
Right.
But if you focus on just one, like you find a good mentor, like you knew Max, but somebody that's like, hey, I really like this guy on YouTube. Just focus on him for a little bit, and it's like, hey, this is working out. I'm seeing progress. Then you stick to it. You don't want to just learn everything, like 500 SCT models or 10,000 different ways to call the same areas. So and it's a mistake I made as well. Like I made the mistake when I was a beginner trader that I did not want to buy a course. I didn't want to join a Discord. I thought everything was a scam. I was like one of those guys. So I spent 5 years on YouTube, just different videos, different strategies. When I first started, I was with a buddy in the back of my Harvard Community College class, and he said, no, it was when Trump was becoming president, and I was in California, right? So the narrative is Trump is bad, we're going to war. So we're gonna put like all our money that we saved up. I was living with my parents too, I didn't have bills. All the money I was saving up from working security and Army Reserve, we put it into this war stocks, and I forgot
LMT.
LMT.
Lockheed Martin.
And of course, there's nothing happened. Actually, it's the best. Like when it comes to the war, there was no conflicts. We lost everything. But we were just following the narrative, right? Like watching the news, and it was terrible. And then I never found the right like mentor early on, and then it took me forever to find it.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say it's so important to invest in yourself. I mean, that's overall, if we're talking finance, the best thing you could do is invest in yourself in anything, in your education, in your physical health and everything. Anytime you make an investment in yourself, it's always a win no matter what. No matter fucking what. Mentor, group, whatever. And that's always going to be number one. And that's, I think, the most important thing people need to realize. You take the risk, take the leap, but believe in invest in yourself first. And even if you utilize the free resources like YouTube, utilize the fuck out of everything free that you're given, because you get a whole master's degree online right now, basically for free.
I think even Google has like, you can go on Google and there's like some programs they actually give you a certificate for like a small like computer science.
Right.
Like I know there's some stuff like that too that like people can
amazing.
utilize. And it's like going to the gym, right? Like if you want to invest yourself, you know, get good fitness, you gotta buy good foods. You gotta go to the gym. Maybe you get a trainer if you really love it and you want to get a trainer. You get a trainer. you start drinking more electrolytes, whatever, but
Right.
you get the right clothes for the gym. You're investing in yourself and your health, and it goes like buying books, trading, and anything
Right.
else in life. What you're saying, Manuel?
I was gonna say that. So I got lucky with. I'm not sure if you're very familiar with my story, but my dad went through that struggle where like he tried to figure it out numerous times throughout his life, and eventually did. It took him years to finally become profitable. And then for me, during COVID, essentially, I just watched him trade. I paper traded next to him for 3 months. He taught me his methodology for like 3 weeks, and then I paper traded next to him. And then on my first day, I was able to make money.
That's
And
so badass.
it's the only reason. And like I was kind of essentially profitable from the very beginning. Like from first day one, I never had I haven't had a losing month in my career ever.
Wow.
And like the only reason is because I learned correctly from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, I've never watched a YouTube video about trading and then like implemented that. I stuck to one thing, only listened to my dad. So yeah.
That's a really impressive statement right there. I mean, I'm going to probably finish this month red, just because of the last week. You bang it, you come. But like he said, everything I do is mathematical and statistical approach. 1 month is not enough data. It's very small sub data of what my overall outlook is like. So I don't give a shit about what 1 week looks like. I don't care about what 1 month looks like. I need 12 to 24 months for everything that I do. And I think that's how you're always going to get the best results and the best approach. Like the great Warren, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in. And the more time in you have, the more data you have, and the more statistics you can react upon.
If anything else fails, you got a couple earnings that you bet on, and you just
You fucking YOLO it.
pray for the last day
If
of the
all
month.
else fails, I'm going to fucking the Hard Rock down
Yeah,
there.
dude, we got the Hard Rock
and I'm
down the
going to
street.
play craps, baby.
Are you good at any gambling? I'm pretty decent in blackjack.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I fucking hate gambling. There's something about the
never
physical
gambled.
concept of holding chips and losing. I will go online today. Today, I put $30,000 in credit spreads out there.
But
and
no
I didn't
$100
even,
blackjack.
I didn't even look at my Schwab. Did you see me open my Schwab account one time today? At all. Not once. $30,000 I had out today. I don't care because I have belief. I believe in my shit so strongly and my strategies. But this last weekend during my baby shower, and my wife was at the baby shower, we were at the casino. $500 losing at the casino cripples me. Oh, God. I'm like, I got to pull 1,000 more out. I got to do it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This is it. This is the. And I think it's because I know in the back of my head I'll never get the edge. I'll never get that trading edge in the casino. I'll never get that statistical edge in the casino. I will forever be the loser. And I think that drives me fucking nuts, that there's nothing I can do to get the edge. And those little chips, inevitably, the longer I'm there, will disappear. And I hate that.
It's funny, the edges. I was looking at, like I mentioned to you guys, I had the Top Step account, and I was looking at it's up $10,000 today. I think I traded over 6 days. It was funded. And I was looking at the statistics. It was like 58% win rate, 1.77 RR. And so I made a video. I'm like, hey, I didn't say it was mine. I just posted. I was like, is this a good trader? And I just showed 58% win rate, 1.77 RR. 80% of people say no. That's a loser trader. And I think people don't
You
understand.
put
Like,
the math right in front of them.
you need all you need is a little edge. You just need a percent extra than 50. You just need a little bit of a positive RR in combination. I think because of a lot of fake influencers, that the 90% win rate, 100% in 2 days, 10-hour trades, and like that's not the reality of it.
Right.
You have people on Twitter. Like I saw a tweet from forgot who it was, but it said, "Oh, this guy's up 16% in 2 days. I'm up 150%."
Right.
And I'm like, that's not normal. Like, it's not really like maybe you did it, but you got mostly lucky and over leveraged.
It's not
It's over
sustainable.
leveraged, right?
I
Like
think
it's
a
not.
lot of people don't understand what the R multiple and the mathematic is, right? If you have a 1-to-1 R multiple, 50% is break even, right? So if you have a trader who has the standardized is about 3-to-1, right? I think that's what they teach. You look online, people say you need a 3-to-1 R multiple. You bet you lose $100 or you make $300. That's what they go to. That's what I would say is the standardized practice that you see online. So with that mathematics, you only need to be right. Break even is 33.33%. Anything over 34% success rate, you're a profitable trader over a long-term time. And people don't realize that. I always used to tell people, you only need to be right 4 out of 10 times to be a profitable trader. You just need to manage your risk appropriately on the last 6. And that's the tough part. That's the tough part that people can't get a hold of.
Yeah, it goes back to the risk management and not like when you tilt. I think tilting is a really big thing. When like you have that ego that's like, I cannot close the day, right? So you keep trading and then you tilt out and you blow it up.
Oh yeah. I have a hardcore 2 times is my limit. On futures, it's 3. And when I'm selling options, only 2 trades a day. And if it's a loser, it is what it is. And with futures, if it's 3, it is what it is. And that's the way I always operate.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Do you have any rules like that for you? Do you look at your account? Like I have a max loss for the day, so like my broker shuts me out, and then I hide my P&L. So my P&L is always hidden in another tab. If anybody's just think or swim, you kind of have to close it, and I have to go to another one.
So for me personally, if I feel like I'm trading well, I'm following my plan, I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, even if I'm losing money, I'm gonna like stick with it. As long as I'm not making mistakes. Like yesterday, I started the day down $900, but like every trade, I was telling, because I have a mentorship group, they trade with me. I was telling them, guys, I feel good about every setup. Like I don't regret a single thing I did today. I'm like, I know it's a little bit frustrating, but you have to ignore it. You got to just stay composed, do what you're supposed to do. And then I ended up recovering. I ended up finishing with $1,000 on the day. And at the end, I was like, guys, this is what it's all about, following the plan. But I think even with let's say you have a 40% win rate, and let's say your maximum risk, like 1R is, I don't know, $500, right?
Right.
And you can make money with a 40% win rate. Now, your losers, it's not necessarily true that on every trade you're going to lose your full risk, that $500.
Right.
Sometimes you might move your stop up and take a half an hour loss. Right. So even with a 40% win rate, you can make quite a lot of money, especially if you're really good at exiting positions. Like we were talking about this yesterday, where you enter into a trade, you want to see immediate follow through in your favor. It hits your entry, you want to see a push. If it hits your entry and then chops, you're like, in that situations, I kind of aggressively look to exit. And then worst case, I'll get back in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a very tough thing for new traders to do that you can do as you're a more experienced trader. But I hate when you see traders break their trading plan of stops and instead of just re-entering. For some reason, people have the hardest time re-entering. And what you said about moving stops, we adjusted the R multiple. And now that we adjusted the R multiple, this win means a lot more. Or how about people that don't scale into trades? That's also very hard for traders to do, where I love that. If I see a setup where I see I see this trend, if it breaks this level, I want to enter, but then I see one of my technical analysis patterns playing out as well, I'm going to scale into the trade more, right? Because now this AA+++ setup is, this hits, and I want to make more. And that's also something that doesn't get factored into a lot of people when they see our multiple. This 100%. One trade, even though I traded 10 times, this one was like 5x the normal contracts because the setup was pristine. It was there and it hit. So a lot of new traders have difficulty with that when they shouldn't. They should be able to hold the winners and cut the losers, but it's backwards. They should be able to scale into the winners, but they DCA into the dollar cost average into the losers. That's backwards. They have the R multiple, but they lose bigger on 6 instead of winning big on 4. It's backwards. And so got to figure out a way to fucking flip the coding in their brains.
It's like Warren Buffett would say, you got to water your plant, so you add into your winner if the market's giving you what you want. Don't be scared of holding it, don't be scared of scaling in, and you want to cut your weeds fast, which is if it's not looking good, hey, the pattern that you were looking at has actually just failed. Don't just hold it. Cut it and then get back in. But podcast is gonna end. We hit a little over an hour, so I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know we're gonna have to do it again. You're our first guest. Do you feel
I'm coming back.
You kind of took our virginity.
As
a guest. So
Thanks
you're always gonna have a special.
I didn't bring any protection. I'll tell you that much.
You might have to be here.
I came into the podcast raw, and I'm leaving raw, baby. It was absolute fun. I'm telling you what. When you're having fun like this, the time.
You don't even know.
Holy shit! This is the fastest. If my trades can go this fast and well, I would be feeling pretty good. But that's the slowest thing on earth, watching a trade.
100%.
Max, if somebody wants to follow you, wants to learn from you, where should they go?
If you want to follow me or learn from me, real easy. You go on any platform, look up Max Options Trading or TheBigDaddyMax on Instagram. You can follow me at Max Trader Reacts on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. I am the #1 finance influencer on Pinterest for some reason with almost 400,000 pins a month. It's wild. So fun fact about me. So give me a follow, give me a DM. Most of the time, if you have some context to what you guys want, I will respond to you personally. Like I said, I'm here to help traders in any way I possibly can.
Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you guys. Emmanuel, do you have any last words or?
Thank you for coming on. When we created this podcast, we wanted to we want to make a pod that, isn't like just a boomer pod that younger people can listen to, older people can listen to.
Right.
And ultimately, we're here to like genuinely improve people's trading. I think a lot of the advice that you gave was extremely valuable. So whoever's listening to this, listen up, like actually apply what we're telling y'all. So, but thanks for coming on. And
and I
it was a
appreciate
great time.
appreciate your student. We brought a live student.
Yes,
She was
thank
very
you.
kind to you today. I was
Yes,
ready for it.
you
This
did
is the
great.
worst mentor.
You were the highlight.
Thank you.
She basically came on here and told me he's a piece of shit.
Oh, come on.
I am not profitable. Don't believe a word he
Wow.
said. No.
He's great.
Look,
No,
she
it's
wouldn't
been
be here
great.
if you wouldn't doing a good job.
Correct.
All right.
And it's been great, fellas. Thank you guys so
All right,
much.
thank you.
Awesome.
That's it. Cut it.